Hey everyone, and welcome to this demo of Dragon Village. This is kind of an RPG and a resource management game. It's kind of hard to explain, but the basic idea is you're in charge of a village, and you have to tell your people what to do. There are a bunch of different tasks and quests that you have to do. You have to clear the forest of bandits and wolves, and you have to, of course, find a way to deal with a dragon that's terrorizing the village. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play this. Now, this game is quite difficult. I personally haven't played it since 2018, so we'll see if I can actually beat it. But if not, this will still serve as a good overview.
Start.
So let me go ahead and run this here.
Launch Dragon Village app.
And here we go.
Loading Rocky's Dragon Village.
So you get that.
Rock's Dragon Village. Welcome to Dragon Village. Press any key to continue.
So I'm just going to hit the down arrow.
You are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village.
And I'll just keep pressing down arrow.
Your task is to grow and prosper. You will have to watch the weather and plan for floods. You will have to defend against wolf packs and gangs of outlaws. You can make goods in the village and sell them at market. You can win favor with the king, or earn respect from the gods. You can send villagers on journeys or take a quest from the village witch. The brave may even choose to visit the dragon. The choice is yours. Press any key to begin your journey. Main menu. Play the game.
Alright, so I'm just going to hit down arrow here.
Abandon current game and restart from day one.
So up and down will move through the menu.
View the instructions. Listen to some quick verbal instructions. Toggle speech off or on. Toggle the intro screen off. Toggle the music on or off. Change the text color, currently yellow. Change the background color, currently black.
So a lot of these pretty much explain themselves. I think this does have some visuals. I don't know how good they are.
Read the history of Dragon Village. Save your game and exit the program. Play the game.
Alright, so let's go through these.
Abandon current game and restart from day one. View the instructions. Program instructions. Instructions for Rock's Dragon Village.
And I'm just going to hit down arrow.
Version 1.4 release date 28 October 2018. 1. Intro. You are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village. The game genre is a mix between strategy, rebounds per game, and adventure.
I don't know why it reads it like that. It's supposed to say RPG.
There is a storyline, but it's up to you to take charge. You have to manage your village resources, solve puzzles, and complete quests. Should you employ weathermen, or just plant crops? Should you employ lookouts, or just guard the village? Should you send travelers to Hungry Village, or visit the king? At the end of each game day, the results of your actions are revealed. Depending on your choices, storyline inserts occur as special events. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to defeat the outlaws, clear the forest of wolves, build a manor for the king, and, somehow, quell that pesky dragon. 2. Active hotkeys on the map. Up, down, left and right arrows will get you around. The Enter key will let you add workers to any location. The E key ends the game day and brings forth the event list for that day. The X key will zero workers for all locations, if the player wishes. The Tab key will cycle round locations with workers. The Backspace key will zero workers at the current location. 3. Information hotkeys on the map. The A key tells you the activity at a location. The C key tells you the current workers at a location. The V key gives the total number of villagers and how many are working. W gives you the latest weather forecast. F tells you how much food and grain you have. G tells you how much gold and goods you have. J tells you how many gem or ruby jewels you have.
Wait, so G's for gold?
G tells you how much gold and goods you have.
Okay.
S tells you the amount of stone blocks and oak lumber you have. L gives you the lookout report for impending attacks. B gives you the best guess at outlaw and wolf numbers. R gives you a status report of all things important. P brings up the previous day's event list. O brings up the ongoing story. D gives you the days of your leadership in Dragon Village. U gives you your active quests. T shows your progress with your building tasks. M gives you your game missions. U gives you your upgrades. K shows your king's favor. H shows how the gods look upon you. 4. Navigating the menus or event lists. Up and down arrow moves up and down the menu. Enter activates a menu item. But Enter does nothing in a simple event list. Note when changing text colors, Shift plus Enter will cycle backwards. Escape will leave a menu or a list. T reads the menu title. 5. General function keys while on the map or in a menu. Function key F1 opens up these instructions in Notepad. Key F2 gives some quick verbal instructions. F3 repeats the last spoken message. F4 will turn keyboard help on for a quick hotkey reminder. Screen reader hotkeys. F5 will cycle round supported screen readers. F6 will slow down your SAPI if you use it.
I am not using Microsoft SAPI. I'm using NVDA. Well, technically NVDA is using it, but that's beside the point.
F7 will speed up your SAPI if you use it. F8 toggles the screen reader on or off. Music hotkeys. F9 cycles through available music choices. F10 lowers the music volume.
So yes, you can change the music like this. That's kind of nice. Let's go with that.
F11 raises the music volume. F12 toggles the music on or off. Page up raises the volume of the game sounds. Page down lowers the volume of the game sounds. The home key selects sound scheme 1 for the menus. The end key selects sound scheme 2 for the menus.
Or you can choose different sound schemes.
Menu sounds courtesy of which Wanda. The home key selects sound scheme. The end key menu sounds courtesy of which one. Oracle Owl gets his instrument out for the menu sounds. The home key, the end, menu sounds, hotkeys. The end key selects sound scheme 2 for them. Hotkeys for quitting. Escape leaves a menu or leaves a list.
That's kind of cool.
And finally, Alt plus F4 will give you the option to leave at any time. Credits. Game coding by Rocky Waters. Sound editing by Rocky and Badger, with thanks to Wolf for start music by thanks Badger, and hoping Rocky October, hope, and finally, special thanks to Badger for teaching Wanda to play the flute.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna hit escape.
Main menu, view the listen to some quick verbal, view, abandon, play the game. Okay, let's go. You are at location D3, the marketplace. It is day 1, time to instruct your workers. D4, the mill and bakery. Oracle Owl gets his instrument out for the menu sounds.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna change the sounds back. Also, it picked up from where I left off. Let's actually go back here.
Main menu, abandon current game and restart. Okay, are you sure you wish to scrub your current game? Please type YRN.
I'm gonna hit Y.
Okay, you are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village. You probably already know about the wolves, the outlaws, the floods, and the dragon. Better get stuck in. Press any key to continue. Press enter on your choice of difficulty level for Dragon Village. Relaxing.
Oh, actually, there was a storyline thing. Let me actually go back here.
Interest set game difficulty to relaxing. Please press YRN. Thank you. Your difficulty level is now set to relaxing. Okay, let's go. You are at location D4, the mill and bakery. It is day 1. Time to instruct your workers.
Okay, so I'm going to hit escape here to temporarily pause the game.
Main menu. View the listen to some quick verbal. Toggle speech off. Toggle the toggle the mute. Change the read the history of Dragon Village.
Let's go ahead and read this, and then I will actually start playing.
The history of Dragon Village. The land to the north of the Rocky River had been a dry and infertile place for many a year. Dry, some said, others said scorched, or even burned. Yet the forest had recently grown again and the blackened hills turned a pleasant olive color.
Make sure.
Pit break 60. The River Rocky, once a dry riverbed, flowed again and swam with fish. Raid 55.
Right.
Old Brian the Wise could still remember the day the first settlers crossed the Rocky River. Although he was not so old back then, and he was called many things, none of them wise. The settlers nestled in a clearing, between the river, the woods, the hills and the forest. Crops were planted and a few cottages and a farm were built. Next came the tavern, a popular place to this day. The tavern needed a name, as did the village. Brian the Wise suggested the Green Dragon Tavern, in mockery of the old wives' tales of dragons. Perhaps wisdom has to be learned sometimes. The name stuck, however, and the village became known as Dragon Village after the popular tavern. Villagers made baskets and soon a market was set up for passing trade. As the village grew, a blacksmith and a church were added. Soon a general store was built to keep the grain and other goods. Even the rats seemed well fed. Messengers were sent to the king, but as there was no hunting to be had, no reply came. Perhaps Dragon Village was too quiet for its own good. Brian grew with the years, and when he took charge of the tavern, he grew in size. In those days he was called Brian the Barman, or Brian the Brewer. Or sometimes even Brian the Brainless, when he forgot to charge the customers. Brian insisted it was wise to let customers have a few free drinks. The name stuck, as customers tried to encourage Brian's wisdom. The river swelled and a bridge was needed instead of a ford. Fishing became a little bit tricky and a dike was needed to protect the fields. Suddenly the weather seemed very important in Dragon Village. But dark clouds were not the only dark clouds on the horizon. Rumors of outlaws, and rumors of wolves grew with the telling. And worse, much worse, smoke was seen to the north. A lot of smoke, which means a lot of fire, according to Brian. Who by now was a lot older and wiser. Well, certainly older. A watchtower was built and a guardhouse, but village folk were too busy to keep a constant guard. Just one plot was left in the village and folk were asked what should be built. Some suggested a jail for any outlaws, some suggested a hospital for any injured defenders. Brian the Wise suggested an extension to the church graveyard. No one asked again, and the plot remained empty. Eyes looked to the north as the smoke drifted to the south. Dragon Village needs a leader, which is where you come in. Return to the main menu.
Right.
Main menu. Save. Read the history of change the back. Read. Save. Play the game.
Let's go ahead.
Press enter on your choice of difficulty. Interesting. Relaxing. Interesting.
Let me go ahead and go through these difficulties just while I'm here.
Relaxing.
So there's that one.
Interesting. Challenging. Stressful. Relaxing. Set game difficulty to relaxing. Please type, thank you. Your difficulty level is now set to relaxing. D5, D4, the Millen Bakery.
Alright, so here we are on the map here.
C4, the farmhouse.
This is a 7x7 grid.
B4, the weather station. A4, the woods.
There's some woods here.
A3, the road to the west. A2, the hills. A1, the hills.
And, so...
A1,
that's the edge of the map.
C1, the hill. D1, the road to the north. DE1, the forest. F1, the forest. G1, the forest. G5, the woods.
Actually, it's a 7x5 map. That's a really weird grid. Okay, so...
GFE3, the village store.
So there's a bunch of stuff here. I'm trying to remember all the key commands.
There are currently 0 workers out of a maximum of 10 in the village store.
So if I hit C, let's...
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to keep down the rats and maybe sell a few things?
Let's do 10.
There are now 10 workers here. D3, the marketplace. There are currently 0 workers out of a maximum of 10 in the marketplace.
So let's put 10 here.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to sell goods to passing travelers to earn some money? There are now 10 C3, the building plot. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 2. How many workers do you want to stand around and debate what to build?
Let's cancel that.
There are still 0 workers here. B3, the blacksmith. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to forge some metalware goods for the market? There are now 10 workers here. You have 100 villagers, and you currently have 30 villagers doing some work.
Alright.
A3, the road to the west.
So some roads here.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take gold to Greedy City and hire some armed guards?
Yeah, we're just gonna cancel that.
There are still 0. A2, the hills. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to hunt down some outlaws?
So basically, you have to assign people.
There are now 10. B2, the watchtower.
Wake.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 4. How many workers do you want to look out for outlaws and wolves?
Get some lookouts here.
There are now 4. C2, the village cottages. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to make some baskets and perhaps a baby or 2?
Sure, why not?
There are now 10. D2, the Green Dragon Tavern. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take it easy for a bit?
No.
There are still E2, the church. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to pray to the gods for salvation?
Yeah, we'll do 5, why not?
There are now 5. You have 100 villagers, and you currently have 59 villagers doing some work. F2, the guardhouse. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 25. How many workers do you want to guard against attack from outlaws and wolves?
10.
There are now G2, the forest. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to hunt down some wolves?
10.
There are now, you have 100 villagers, and you currently have 79 villagers doing some work.
Alright, so I've got 21 left.
G3, the road to the east.
This is a road. I think these take you different places.
F3, the barley fields. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 20. How many workers do you want to grow some barley grain?
10.
There are now E3, the village store. There are currently 10 workers here. There are still 10 E4, the wheat fields.
Yeah, let's put some people
There
at
are
the wheat
currently-
fields.
There are now 10 work. You have 100 villagers, and you currently have 99 villagers doing some work. E5, the river. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to go fishing? There are still D5, the bridge to the south.
I have 1 person here.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take goods and gold to the king to win his favor?
Let's do 1.
You need another 1 gold and 1 goods to send these workers. There are still 0 work. D4, the mill and bakery.
Okay.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to grind flour and bake some bread?
So just do 1.
There are now 1 workers here.
And now that my people have been assigned, I'll hit E.
Are you sure you wish to end the day? Please type Y or N.
I'm gonna hit Y.
Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops.
And now it tells me what's going on, so I'm gonna hit down now.
Workers grew 18 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 18 bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used 5 bags of grain and made 16 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, but no outlaws were found. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest, but no wolves were found. Workers at the smithy forged 10 new metalware goods. Villages weaved 5 new basketware goods. Some villagers took time off work to make 2 new babies. As a complete coincidence, 2 youths can now be counted amongst your workforce. Passing travelers paid 10 gold freight goods at the marketplace. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 4 gold for just 2 goods at the village store. Prayers seemed to be answered when 5 gold was found in the collection box. Rats helped themselves to 2 grain. Rats helped themselves to 2 food. Villagers ate up 107 food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable for crops. This villagers feel tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable for crops. This forecast is 0% reliable.
Actually, let me turn the music down a little bit.
Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have 102 villagers. You currently have 100 villagers doing some work.
Alright, so we got some more people here.
You have 129 bags of grain. You have 7 available food. You have 19 gold coins. You have 5 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0 outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 0 wolves in the forest. Return to Dragon Village. It is day 2. Time to instruct your workers. You are C4, the farmhouse. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to tend to the farm animals?
Wait.
There are still 0. You have 102 villagers, and you currently have 100 villagers doing D4, the mill and baker. There are currently 1 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to grind flour and bake?
So let's add these people here.
There are now 3 workers here. You have 102 villagers, and you currently have 102 villagers doing some work.
Alright, let's end the day.
Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Event. Workers grew 14 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 17 bags of grain in the barley field. Workers used 14 bags of grain and made 42 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, but no outlaws were found. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest, but no wolves were. Workers at the smithy forged 8 new metalware goods. Villages weaved 3 new basketware goods. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, 1 young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid 11 gold for 11 goods at the marketplace. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 5 gold for just 2 goods at the village store. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy today. Rats helped themselves to 3 grain. Rats helped themselves to 1 food. Villagers ate up 48 food this day. Your peasants are revolting. 65 villagers went without food today.
Oh dear.
23 villagers left the village in search of food, so check all your buildings. Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable. Villagers feel safe from outlaws.
Wait.
Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable for crops. This forecast is 0% reliable. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have 80 villagers. You currently have 66 villagers doing some work. You have 143 bags of grain.
Wait.
You have 0 available food. You have 35 gold coin. You have 3 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0 out. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 0. Return to drag. It is day 3. Time to instruct. You have 80 villagers, and you currently have 66 villagers doing some work.
Well, that sucks. I lost some people.
C4, the farmhouse. D4, the mill and bakery. There are currently 1 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers? There are now 10 workers here. E4, the wheat fields. There are currently 8 workers out of a max. There are now 10. F4, the dike. E3, the village store. There are currently 8 workers here. The maximum at this location. There are now 5 workers.
Let's put that down to 5 at the store.
D3, the marketplace. There are currently 8 workers. There
5
are
here.
C3, the building plot. B3, the blacksmith. There are currently 8 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to forge some metalware goods for the market? There are now 10.
We'll put 10 here.
A3, the road to the west. A2, the hills. There are currently 2 workers here. The maximum. There are now A, B, B, C, D, E, 1. There are currently 2 workers. There are now 0 workers here. There are currently 0 workers out of a maximum of 10 in the. You have 80 villagers, and you currently have 69 villagers doing some work.
Just got 11.
E2, the church. There are currently 3 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. There are now 0.
We'll put that 0.
F2, the guardhouse. There are currently 8 workers here. The maximum at this location is 20. There are now G2, F1, F3, the barley. There are currently 8 workers here.
Put 10
There
here.
are now 10 work. There are currently 10. You have 80 villagers, and you currently have 70 villagers doing some. E3, D3, D2, the F2, the guardhouse. 10 workers.
I'm just pressing tab now.
B3, the blacksmith. 10 work. D3, the marketplace. 5 work. E3, the village store. 5 work. F3, the barley fields. 10 worker. D4, the mill and bakery. 10 workers. E4, the wheat fields. 10 work. B2, the watchtower. 2 workers. There are currently 2 workers out of a map. You have 80 villagers, and you currently have 70 village. There are currently. Sorry, the maximum workers here is 4. There are now 4 workers.
Put 4 here.
A, B, C, 2, the village cottages, 8 workers. There are currently 8 workers out of a map. There are now 10 workers here.
And 10 at the cottages. Let's hit V.
You have 80 villagers, and you currently have 74 villagers doing some work. F2, the guardhouse, 10
I've got
workers.
6
E2,
here.
the church. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this.
Let's put some at the church. Why not?
There are now 6 workers here. Are you sure you wish to? Okay, special event.
Alright, so let's hit down now.
Late in the evening, a herald arrives from the king. Standing in the marketplace, he proclaims his message. It is the king's wish to have a country residence. This village has been chosen as a quiet and peaceful place. On the king's order, you must select a building plot and keep the peace. Nobody seems inclined to mention rumors of outlaws or wolves. Be sure, added the herald, to use large stone blocks and oak beams. You assume the king has not heard about the dragon. His message delivered, Gerald the herald departs. You wonder if it is possible to change the name of the village. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. A herald rocks up in the marketplace and seems to think this is a holiday camp fit for a king.
Yeah, so you have to build the manor for the king on top of all the other crap that you have to do.
Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers grew 5 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 4 bags of grain and workers used 52 bags of grain and made 163 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Workers at the smithy forged 9 new metalware goods. Villages weaved 3 new basketware goods. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid 4 gold for 4 goods at the marketplace. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 3 gold. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy. Rats helped themselves to 7 grain. Rats helped themselves to 10 food. Villagers ate up 72 food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe. You have 81 villagers. You currently have 80 villagers doing some work. You have 93 bags of grain. You have 81 available food. You have 42 gold coin. You have 10 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 0. Return to drag. It is day 4. Time to instruct your workers.
Alright, here we are at day 4.
D2, the Green Dragon Tavern. C2, the village cot. C3, the building plot. You need another 20 lumber and 20 stone to start work. There are still 0 workers here.
How do you get lumber and stone?
B3, the blacksmith. There are currently 10 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to forge some metalware goods for the... There are still B4, the weather station. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 4. How many... Sorry, there are only 1 workers available. There are now 1 workers here.
Let's put someone at the weather station.
B5, the river. C4, the farmhouse. D4, the mill and bakery. There are currently 10.
This is not going too well, but we'll see.
Are you sure you wish? Okay. Event workers grew 15 bags of grain in the workers grew 14 bags. Workers used 48 bags of grain and made 151 loaves of bread. Workers at the smithy forged 10 new metalware goods. Villages weaved 3 new basketware goods. A couple of villagers, as a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid 6 gold. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. Prayers seemed to be answered when 10 metalware goods were found at the blacksmith, of all places. Rats helped themselves to 5 grain. Rats helped themselves to 17 food. Villagers ate up 73 food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. This forecast is 25% reliable.
25% reliable.
Villagers feel safe from villagers feel. You have 82 villagers. You currently have 81 villagers doing some work. You have 69 bags of grain. You have 142 available food. You have 50 gold coins. You have 27 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0. Return to. It is day 5. D5.
Now,
the bridge to the south.
What I can do is send people to different places. Now, this is the bridge to the south.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take goods and gold to the king to win his favor?
Yeah,
Sorry, there are only 1. There are 1 gold and 1 goods are collected and 1 workers are ready to set off.
yeah, why not? You can go there.
Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in workers grew 6 bags of workers grew 5 bags. Workers used 52 bags of grain. Workers at the smithy forged 8 new metalware. Villages weaved 4 new A couple of villages weaved 4 new basketware goods. A couple of as a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid 5 gold for 6 goods at the marketplace.
So I'm getting my people back. I lost a bunch of them because I didn't have enough food, but that's okay.
Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. 1 gold and 1 goods are taken south towards Monarch City by one of your most trusted workers. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were little. Rats helped themselves to 2 grain. Rats helped themselves to 19 food. Villagers ate up 74. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast is 25. Villagers feel safe from. Villagers feel. You have 83 villagers. You currently have 82. You have 26 bags of grain. You have 189 available food. You have 56 gold. You have 31 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0. Return to dragon. It is day 6.
Right, so we got that.
D1. The road to the north.
Now, road to the north.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 5. How many workers do you want to stare with dread at the smoke on the northern horizon?
Yeah, let's not do that. 0.
There are now 0 workers here. A3. The road to the west. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take gold to Greedy City and hire some armed guards?
Yeah, let's do 1.
2 gold is collected and 1 workers are ready to set off. You have 83 villagers, and you currently have 83 villagers doing some work. Are you okay? Events that workers grew 16 bags. Workers grew 16 bags. Workers used 50 bags of grain and made 142 loaves of bread in the mill and bake. Workers at the smithy forged 11 new metal. Villages weaved 3 new basketware goods. A couple of passing travelers paid 5 gold for 6 goods. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. 2 gold is taken west towards Greedy City by one of your most trusted workers. Prayers seem to be answered when the small red ruby is found outside the Green Dragon Tavern.
Aha.
Rats help themselves to 1 grain. Rats help themselves to 25 food. Villagers ate up 88 food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This forecast is 25% reliable. Villagers feel safe from You have 84 villagers. You currently have 83 villagers. You have 7 bags of grain. You have 218 available food. You have 61 gold coins. You have 38 goods to sell. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 0 returned. It is day A3, the road to the west. There are currently 0 workers out of a maximum of 5 in the road to the west. Are you sure you wish to end the... Okay, let's continue.
No, I don't. Let's see. V.
You have 84 villagers, and you currently have 83 F3, G3, the road to the east. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. How many workers do you want to take food to Hungry Village and collect peasants?
Do 1.
There are now 1 workers here.
And end the day.
Are you sure? Okay, special event. You are alarmed to hear reports of a large gang of outlaws arriving in the hills. Your good village folk look close to panic. Fortunately, Brian the Wise has some good advice. Lookouts to the watchtower. Guards to the guardhouse. Send for help from Greedy City. Hunt them down in the hills. As village leader, what action will you take? Press any key to continue. Events this day in today's weather. You are alarmed to hear return to You are alarmed to hear reports of a gang of outlaws arriving in the hills. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster. Workers grew 18 bags of grain. Workers grew 12 bags of grain in the barley field. Floods broke through the dike and have ruined today's crop of 18 bags of wheat and 12 bags of barley.
Oh crap.
Workers used 7 bags of grain and made 19 loaves. Workers at the smithy forged 12 new villages weaved 5 new bags. Some village. As a complete coincidence, 2 youths can now. Passing travelers paid 5 gold. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. 2 food is taken east towards Hungry Village by one of your most trusted prayers were listened to by the gods, but the rats helped themselves to 16 food. Villagers ate up 94. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have 86 villagers. You currently have 64 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 125 available food. You have 68 gold coins. You have 48 goods to sell. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 42 outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 0. Return to. It is day 8. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location G3.
And I think I can hit W.
Today's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be good for crops. This forecast is 25% reliable.
And okay.
G3, the road to the east. B4, the weather station. 1 workers. There are currently 1 workers here. The maximum at this location is 4.
Let's do 4.
There are now 4. D4, the mill and bakery. There are currently 10 workers here. There are still 10. B2, the watchtower. 4 workers. There are currently 4 workers here. The maximum at this location is 4. How many workers? There are still C2. There are currently 10 There are E2. The F2. The guardhouse. 10 workers. There are currently 10 workers here. The maximum at this location is 25. How many?
20.
There are now 20 workers here. You have 86 villagers, and you currently have 77 villagers doing some. B3, the blacksmith. There are currently 10 workers here. There are D3, the marketplace. There are currently 5. There are E3, the village store. There are currently 5. There are B4, the weather station. D4, the mill and bakery. C1, the hills.
I think there's some outlaws. Let's see.
You have 86 villagers, and you currently have 77 villagers doing. You have 86 villagers.
There are currently 9.
There are now 9 workers here. Are you okay? Events this workers used 0 bags of grain. Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, and 2 outlaws were killed in the attack. Workers at the smithy forged 9 new metalware good. Villages weaved 3 new Passing travelers paid 4 gold. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. One of your villagers returned. One of your villagers returned with the king's own hunting party from Monarch City. The horsemen and archers seem not to find any wolves in the forest. Perhaps there are none to find. Prayers seem to be answered when 22 cheeses were found at the village store.
Oh.
Rats helped themselves to 10 food. Villagers ate up 94 Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have 86 villagers. You currently have 85 villagers doing some. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 43 available food. You have 74 gold coins. You have 55 goods to sell. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 43 outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 0. Return to it is Dane. C1. The hills. There are currently 9 workers here. There are now 10 workers here.
We'll send them out to the hills again.
A2. The hill. B2. The watch. C2. E2. F2. B3. D3. The E3. B. D4. The mill and bakery. 10. A1. The hills. 10 worker. B1. The hills. 10 workers.
Actually, I don't need that many. Let's take these off here.
There are currently 10.
0.
There are now 0. B2. C. D2. E. F. G. G3. G. F4. F. E. D.
Where's
C.
the
B.
field?
A. B. 3. B2. B1. C. D. 1. D. 2. D. D. 4. E. 4. The wheat fields. There are currently 0 workers. There are now 10 workers here. You have 86 villagers, and you currently have 86 village. Are you sure? Okay, special event. You are shocked to learn that a large pack of wolves has arrived in the forest. Your good village folk look close to panic. Fortunately, Brian the Wise has some more good advice. Lookouts to the watchtower, guards to the guardhouse, send for help from the king. Hunt them down in the forest. As village leader, what press in events this today's you are shocked to learn that a wolf pack has arrived in the forest. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for workers. Grew 15 bags. Workers used 15 bags of grain and made 47 loaves. Workers at the smithy forged 11. Villages weaved 5 new bats. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold. Passing travelers paid 5 gold. One of your villagers returned with a gang of armed thugs from Greedy City. The thugs carry the heads of 1 outlaws. Nobody will argue with those thugs. That's a fair day's work for 2 gold. Prayers seemed to be answered when 12 baskets were found bizarrely in the graveyard. Rats helped themselves to 6 food. Villagers ate up 84 food. Your peasants are revolting. 10 villagers went without food today. 3 villagers died from malnutrition, so check all your buildings. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad. Lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw. Lookouts estimate 7 wolves will attack tomorrow. You have 83 villagers. You currently have 75 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 0 available food. You have 81 gold. You have 76 goods to sell. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 40 outlaws. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 45 wolves and return to draft. It is day 10. E3. The village store. There are currently 4 workers. There are now 0. F3. The barley field. There are currently 0. There are now D3. The marketplace. There are currently 4. There are now C3, the building plot. B3, the blacksmith. There are currently 9 workers. There are now A3, the A2, the hills.
Let's see.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. There are now 10. B2, the watchtower. There are currently 3 workers here. The maximum at this location is 4. There are now 4 workers. You have 83 villagers, and you currently have 79 villagers. C2. There are currently 9 workers here. There are D2. The Green Dragon Tavern. E2. The church. There are currently 5 workers here. There are F2. The guardhouse. There are currently 19 workers here. There are now 20 workers here.
Let's see.
You have 83 villagers, and you currently have 76 villagers. G2. The forest. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum at this location is 10. Sorry, there are only 7 workers available. There are now 7 workers here. Are you okay? Events this return. Today's weather was drought. Workers grew 5 bags of grain. Workers used 9 bags of grain and made 24 guards fought off 6 wolves, but no wolves were killed in the attack. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and 4 outlaws were killed in the attack. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest and 2 wolves were killed in the attack. Unfortunately, 1 villager went missing in the forest, presumed eaten. Villages weaved 5 new bags. 1 of your workforce returned with 1 grateful peasants from Hungry Village. Rats helped themselves to 3 food. Villagers ate up 21 food. Your peasants are revolting. 70 villagers went without food today.
Whoa.
25 villagers died in the revolt, so check all your buildings.
Oh, shit.
Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy. Lookouts reckon there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts guess 12 wolves will attack tomorrow. You have 58 villagers.
See, this is what I mean by this game being quite hard.
You currently have 53 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 0 available food. You have 81 gold. You have 81 goods. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 37 outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 40. Return. It is day F2,
On
the
your
guardhouse.
toes.
There are currently 18 workers out of it. There are now E2, D2, the green C2. There are currently 8 workers. There are now 10. You have 58 villagers, and you currently have 57 villagers. B2, the watchtower. There are currently 2 workers here. There are now 3.
Yeah, this is not going well.
Are you sure? Okay. Event workers today's weather was rain. Workers grew 9 bags. Workers grew 12. Workers used 21 bags of grain and made 69 loaves of bread in the mill. Guards fought off 6 wolves, but no wolf. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, and 1 outlaws were killed. Unfortunately, 1 villager went missing in the hills, presumed dead. Villages weaved 5 new, a couple of village. As a complete coincidence, 1 young rats helped themselves to 9 villagers ate up 60 food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought. Lookouts estimate 7 outlaws will attack tomorrow. Lookouts forecast there will be no war. You have 58 villagers. You currently have 57 villagers doing some work. You have 0 back. You have 0 avail. You have 81 gold coin. You have 86 goods. You have 1 rubies. Rumors suggest there are around 38 outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 46. Return. It is day A2, the hills. There are currently 1 workers here. The maximum at this location. There are now 2 workers here. Are you okay? Special event. Late in the evening, another herald arrives from the king. Standing in the marketplace, he proclaims his message. The king wishes the people of Dragon Village to undertake a couple of missions. Firstly, drive the outlaws from the hills and restore the peace. Secondly, drive the wolves from the forest and restore the peace.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Thirdly, get started on the house for the king. And fourthly, do something about those rumors of a dragon. You decide not to mention the smoke on the northern horizon. His message delivered, Herald the herald departs. You wonder if it is possible to relocate the village. Press any key. Events this day in Dragonville. Today, a herald rocks up in the marketplace and gives you a 4-part mission.
Alright.
Today's weather was drought. Workers grew 4 bags of grain in the
Yeah,
barren
this
fields.
sucks.
Workers used 6 bags. Guards fought off 6 outlaws, and 2 outlaws were killed in the attack. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, and 1 outlaws were killed. Unfortunately, 1 villager went missing in the hill. Villages weaved 4 new bags. Some villagers. As a complete coincidence, 2 youths can now. Rats helped themselves to 2 villagers ate up 15 food this day. Your peasants are revolting. 41 villagers went without food today. 12 villagers died in the revolt, so check all your buildings. Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be lookouts are rather hazy about outlaw activity tomorrow. Lookouts are rather hazy about wolf activity. You have 47 villagers. You currently have 43 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags up. You have 81 gold. You have 90 goods to sell. You have 1 ruby. Rumors suggest there are around 33 outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest there are thought to be 46. Return. It is day 13. B2, the watchtower. There are currently 1 workers here. The max. There are now 4 workers. You have 47 villagers, and you currently have 46 villagers. C2, the village. There are currently 8 workers. There are currently 8 workers here. There are now.
Yeah, this is not going well.
Are you okay? If today's workers grew 9 bag. Workers grew 9. Floods broke through the dike and have ruined today's crop. Workers used 0 bag. Outlaws broke through the village defenses and stole 0 food, 15 goods and 9 gold. Villages weaved 4 new baskets. A couple of. As a complete coincidence, 1 villagers ate up 0. Your peasants are revolting. 48 villagers went without. 16 villagers died from malnutrition, so check all your buildings. The future is so bleak. All your villagers have just deserted you. Tomorrow's weather forecast is not at all help. Lookouts estimate. Lookout. You currently have. You have rumors. Returned. Today's weather forecast is not at all helpful. Special event. You have failed.
Yep, I failed.
You failed your village folk, and you failed your king. Your surviving few peasants have deserted. You spend an empty day looking at empty buildings. Late in the day, the king's cavalry arrive. and on the king's orders. The soldiers carry out your execution.
Oh, geez.
Press any key to end your misery. Main menu. Play the game. Save your game.
So-
read the change. Abandon. View the. Listen to some quick. Main menu. Main menu.
Wait, what?
C3, C2. The village. There are currently 8 workers. There are still. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day. Workers used 0. Return to rumors. Today's weather forecast is not at all. You have failed. You failed your village. You spend an empty day late in the day.
Alright, so
and on
that was really
the
weird.
soldiers carry out your
I'm gonna
execution.
hit Alt F4.
Press in main menu. Abandon current. Do you really want to leave? Press Y to exit or end. Thank you for visiting
Y.
Rock's Dragon Village. If you have enjoyed this game, please consider making a donation. For more of my games and software, or to donate, please visit rockywaters.co.uk. Press any key to exit. Audacity.
Right.
Status line recording.
And good, I'm still recording. But that's basically Dragon Village. You have to manage your people very carefully. And, yeah, that game can definitely get hard. And I didn't even get to the dragon, but if you take too long, I think the dragon will start to burn things down, and that just makes things worse. Yeah, and I forget how you build the manor. I think you have to trade and do stuff. Anyway, that is Dragon Village. It can be quite challenging, and it definitely makes your brain work. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, of course, let me know. But until next time, take care.